Tori Kruse. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Please put your comments below, and you can also find me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse.
All right, so today we have on the show a very special guest. Her name is Sandi Glandt. Sandi is a high-performance productivity coach for female entrepreneurs. She helps overwhelmed, stressed out boss babes maximize their time, energy, and productivity to be present and intentional with the most important aspects of their life. She helps women go from overwhelm and burnout to balance. Sandi has multiple courses and one-on-one and group coaching. She is the co-founder of Project In Charge. Project In Charge is an online platform for ambitious women who are looking to tap into coaching, tools, and training to step in their most powerful version of themselves. She is also happily married to her husband, Jared Glandt, and has one little baby boy and another one on the way. So welcome, Sandi. It's such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. All right. So let's just dive into it. Tell us a little bit about your background and what you're currently up to.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I do high performance productivity coaching for women, but a lot of people, when they hear that, they're like, she must have always had the systems and the trainings and the strategies and all these things. And I have to say, no, it was not always that way. If we talk about, what life looked like prior to running a business, being a wife, becoming a mom, all of those hats that we wear, my life, growing up did not look like that. So when I coach and when I speak to women about, tapping into finding that next level version of themselves, you don't have to be born with it. I don't think any of us are born with that, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's something that we tap into and that we cultivate, and you make it work for you, So a little bit of my background, I was a wedding and event planner, and of course, all of those skills with attention to detail and planners and time, all of that went so much into that job, and I loved it. I did that for 6 years in Pennsylvania. Fast forward, because I won't go into the whole story, but fast forward, I've been here in Miami and Florida for 6 years with my husband, happily married, one son, 2.5, another one on the way. And, just being a mom, right? Just as that title alone as a mom, you need to have all the tips and hacks and strategies, because they will get you. These kids, I'll tell you, with their schedules and the things that they've going on, it's so easy to get off track and just kind of lose yourself. And I do have those clients who are like, I'm a mom and I'm so stressed and overwhelmed. I need this just structure in my life, right? And then you add on running a business and a home and trying to take care of yourself on top of it. And it's easy to just let things slide through the cracks. So that's what I help my clients do. That's what I focus on, which is really helping them to tap into, whether it is mom life, work life, a blend of the two together, really tapping into operating at those high productivity levels. So it's not just doing it all, right? Because we don't want to be busy. We want to be productive, but also be fulfilled. And that's the main component of it. Because if I was doing what I do every single day and not being fulfilled as a wife or a mom or as a friend or even in my own self-care, that's not enjoyment. We're not meant to just live life and, pay bills and die. We're meant to thrive. So I don't want any of the ladies that are listening here, let's get out of the survival mode and tap into thriving.
Yes. Amen to that. Completely. I mean, like you said, it's not just about paying the bills and just living here on earth. We're here for a reason. We're here for fulfillment. And that's amazing. I love what you do. And I'm just so interested, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are too, to learn more about this productivity course that you have and just the different strategies. I see on your Instagram a lot, you put your schedule up there and it is dynamite. I don't even know how you squeeze all of that in, but it's so broken down and it's great. So can you just give us a little example of what you teach your clients specifically with the productivity?
So I think the biggest thing first to focus on, right, before we go into goals and targets and like what I'm doing day to day, because everyone's schedule is going to look different. What my priorities are going to be different from yours or anyone, who it depends on what's going on in life, right? Like, is my focus my business, my family? Am I, again, wearing multiple hats? So we have to first identify what it is that we're going after and what that looks like to you. What do I want? What do I want my ideal day, my time, those structures and systems to look like? Because the first thing that I always focus on is, we need a game plan. You can't just like drive to go to, let's say you're going to, I don't know, the restaurant that's a few blocks away and not have that game plan in place on knowing how to get there. So we need to focus on how we're going to do that, but also what is going to move us forward. And that's why I say being busy versus productive, because so many of us are on that hamster wheel. We're like, I'm busy, busy, busy. Like I'm getting things done, but I'm not moving the ball forward and being productive. So what I like to focus on with my clients is what's going to move the ball forward. What are those? I call them the money-making moves. So what are the money-making moves or activities that move you forward, whether personally or professionally, that are going to allow you to, again, be productive, but also feel fulfilled. So every single day, you're not just like, oh, I just did a bunch of things on my to-do list. Like we're actually being very strategic about how we're moving forward and getting things done.
And so when you're strategic and moving forward, what do you really place, as far as you personally, what is your top three? Like, do you categorize like your top three needs in life? Is that how you start?
So, and if you could see my desk, you could see my desk like calendar and my planner and everything that's right in front of me. But I break it down by month, because every month I'm going after a different target. So that means I need to align like the goals that I have with the steps that I'm taking. So what I do is I break it down between my projects, my dailies on what I'm doing every single day, and then my goals. And it's kind of, it's the system that I walk my clients through, or anyone that's taken my courses and my coaching. And I say, okay, what are the goals that I'm going after? And the targets are essentially the steps that I'm making to get there. So if the goal is to write a book, right? The projects would be, I'm writing for an hour a day. The projects would be, maybe it's write a blog or a podcast, right? And then also with my goals too, there's personal goals on there. So I'm also, intentional family time is a non-negotiable for me. If I were to just be working 24 hours a day and not having that intentional time with my son, with my husband, self-care, like you'll see, on my Instagram stories, I'm like, okay, I took a bath today. Like that is so needed, right? So like not neglecting ourselves. So really focusing on what's going to make me feel good, but also what's going to move the ball forward.
Yes, that's really, really good advice. So my podcast and YouTube channel is called It's Breakthrough Time. So I want to know your secret to breaking through challenges and how you've used those to catapult you forward in success instead of a setback.
Yeah. So, and this is such a good question, because right now, like literally today, right now, we had so many moving pieces just going on in our life. We just moved. We're in the middle of this whole coronavirus thing. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm running multiple group coaching programs. I think I told you I'm shooting the cover of my book next week. I wrote and launching a book, which will be launching in June. So there's a lot of things going on, and everyone from my mother-in-law to friends, clients, they're like, how do you do so many things? And, the answer to that, enable to really focus on what you need to accomplish and get done and to break through and, get to that next level, is focusing on the most important thing right in front of you. If I were to look at this, and especially again, right now in the times that we're in, oh my gosh, we're in this pandemic. What am I going to do? How, and staying in a victim mode. Yeah. That's the fastest way to just losing yourself and becoming the victim. And I think that so many of us, if we can look outside of that and say, what is the opportunity here? Again, what's right in front of me, and what's one step I can take to move forward? Because we don't want to look at 20 steps down the road, right? Like that's not going to do us any good. But if I can look at the one step I can take right now to move forward and make progress, it's one step. And then another, and then another. And it's just, again, that one step that I can focus on to keep just moving ahead.
Absolutely. And so what do you do every single day to keep your positive mindset?
Yeah. I mean, I do a couple things. I meditate. So meditation to me is really important. I meditate in the morning. And this is, I have to preface with, this is a new practice I just got into. I wasn't always, I think I never realized the power of it and how it can, help you tap into that, getting to that next level, because I was always like, I don't have time for meditation. Like, who needs to do that? But when I started really getting into it and doing it in the morning, I do it before bed. And also a little hack is I do it in my 5 minutes before I transition from work mode into mommy mode. So, just kind of aligning myself with where I'm at physically, mentally. If it's been, more of a challenging day, it helps me to just realign myself. I listen to my body, again, I'm 8 months pregnant. So there's some days, and I love movement and working out. It's so important to me and my body and the baby, especially right now. But I listen to my body. I don't try and push it. If it's been I had one of those days on Mother's Day. I was like, why is my body not letting me work out today?
Yeah.
And I did. I went, and you know what I did? I took a bath. So I would just say, honor your body, listen to yourself. What you feel, and that intuition of like, I know when I can like push harder and go for more, but I also need to know when to like take it down a notch and just really listen to myself and my body and honor that.
That awareness is so amazing, especially for women, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on women to be, like this certain size or this certain weight, or work out X amount of times a week, and then you can look like this and eat this. And I just like, there's a lot of outside noise. So your awareness is really inspiring. So how have you developed that lack of comparison with, because you're a mom, you're a wife, and you're a business owner. So you have a lot of different areas of your life where you could compare yourself to other people. How have you really stayed true to yourself? And just like that working out, you're very aware that you don't have to work out every single day. Maybe go take a bath is better for your body right now. How do you really keep that lack of comparison up in your life so it's really healthy?
Yeah, well, I think this is twofold for me. The first part is anything that I'm doing, I stay in my lane. Like, I know what I'm good at, and I stick to that. And a lot of things that I do in my business, or even in my home, like grocery shopping, right? I find things that I can outsource that I'm not good at, and like I said, I stick to what I know is going to fulfill me in that area. Again, whether it be business or in my personal life. And I think when we look at someone and we say, oh my gosh, look at how that mom threw the birthday party, and it's like this Etsy, Pinterest board birthday party, or in business, someone who's doing, it looks like from the outside, right? Because I think social media, Facebook, Instagram, it's just a highlight reel. We're just seeing what people want us to see. So you can't compare. And then the other thing is too, I don't try and compare my chapter, let's say 10, to someone's chapter 20. Like, I'm very, very aware that like we're all on different paths, and we all have our own gifts that we're meant to share. And maybe you haven't found that yet. Maybe you're still searching for it, or maybe you know what it is, and you're just like, I'm working towards getting to that next level. So for me, it's always growing. It's always becoming the best version of myself, but it's never looking to the left or the right and comparing like, she did that better, he's doing this over here. Like, it's really just, what can I focus on? How can I be the best version of me? And it goes back to what I was just saying about listening to myself and honoring, there's 24 hours in the day. We all have the same 24 hours. So what are we doing with it? How can we, maximize that time? But also, like, really just being present and aware of what you can accomplish and where you want to go. And I think that when we compare, the things that we're doing to others, it's easy to get, jealous and those emotions. And that takes us away from taking action when we start comparing, right? So that actually takes us further away from the goals and what we want to be creating. So if you find someone that's, you follow, or again, whether it be social or real life, a friend, a family member that you just feel drained by, I am very, very extremely protective of my energy, who I'm around, what I'm tapping into, whether it's news. Yes.
Same.
Yeah. So just being really protective of yourself and the energy, and knowing like, I know when I'm around this person, or when I'm watching that, or tapping into this, know and recognize how you feel, and how that's allowing you to show up. Because if that's taking you away from the bigger purpose and the bigger picture, then you know that's something that you just have to get rid of.
And have you always been aware of that when there's like energy drainers, you know, that you have family or friends? Have you always been like that?
You know, my husband will attest to this. I'm a very I just found out that this was like a word, that this was a thing like a year ago because of my girlfriend. Like a very empathetic person, like an empath is like the word. And what, you know, being very in tune to feelings and emotions and sensitivity. He's like, you're so sensitive. but I pick up on energy extremely well. Like I don't know where it comes from or how I got it, but that to me has been something I've been able to recognize really easily. It's almost, you know, and if you're not familiar with it, it's almost like that feeling when you connect with someone right away and you're like, wow, this is like a great energy. Yes. I can feel this person. Or you feel someone who's draining and you're like, why do I just feel so like blah, like around this person, right? And from, I don't know, as early as I can remember, I just remember being like, why do I feel this way around one person or situation, circumstance? And then there's other areas that I feel really high vibe and energy and it allows me to grow. So I don't know. I mean, I think that to tap into that is something that you have to listen to yourself and your intuition and that little just gut instinct that you have. But I've been always really just highly sensitive to like energies and being able to pick up on what really fuels me and what's going to drain me.
I totally relate to you on that, like completely. And I think it's also how you're raised as well. I mean, my mom personally, she's always taught me to be extremely aware. She's very intuitive with people. And so I think that's where mine comes from as well. But yeah, it's women. I didn't always listen to my intuition. And that right there, like when your intuition, when your gut is telling you something, for all the ladies listening, go with it. Like, even if you don't really want to, your intuition is never wrong. It is always right. And that's one of the things that now that I'm aware of that, it saved me, you know, getting out of unhealthy relationships or, you know, making a move in business that I didn't know if it was right or not. And then I just sit back and back to your meditation. It's huge. You sit back, you listen to that, you have that time of self-reflection and listen. And when you do that, it's amazing the things that your own body just comes up with.
Right. And I think that's why, like you said, I wasn't hesitant against like meditation or any prayer. I just never, because I never did it, I didn't experience the benefits of it. So when I tapped into it, I was like, whoa, I can actually like fast track what I'm doing just based on listening to myself and what like that inner voice is telling me and guiding me to do. And, you know, it's so funny because my husband's like, oh, that stuff is so goofy, but like he's got his own little opinion on it.
I can totally see him saying that.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, I even stayed away from it for a while because I was like, oh, well, he thinks it's crazy or whatever. So, you know, maybe I just won't tap into it. But I always had that like feeling inside of me of just knowing, you know, look, how I met my husband, we did long distance for a few months when we met. And all of a sudden he's like, hey, come move down here. I'm like, okay, I don't know. It feels right. Sure, I'll do it.
Let's do it. What's the worst that can happen?
It's a good thing that I followed that intuition, and you know, it obviously brought me to where I am today. But again, I think it's also having that awareness and that upbringing of knowing, and it's not just right from wrong, but it's really just being able to know what is going to best serve you, and not just in the moment, right? But like kind of down the road. In business as well as personal, and just knowing like, am I willing to sacrifice something right now in the moment for delayed gratification later?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about relationships as well, because some women are listening, you know, they're in a relationship or maybe they're married and they're wondering, okay, my relationship is kind of on the rocks right now because I am running a business. I do have kids and I'm putting that first right now. Yeah. What do you suggest to those women who are really trying to have a healthier relationship, healthier marriage?
So, okay. Oh my gosh, I could go on about this, but my husband and I are both very highly productive, have a lot of things going on. He's the president of a major company. You know, he travels and we've got we've got our son and another baby on the way, and I have my businesses that I run, and mommy mode, and all the things, right? So I think that first and foremost, like it's important to have your thing, because when I moved down here 6 years ago, and I was going from having my own life and running my own business, and then I moved down here and I really only knew my husband.
Mhm.
I was bored. I was like so used to doing my own thing that I was like, we were getting more in arguments, because I was like, well, why am I taking this out on him? I need to find what makes me happy, right? So like, just knowing that your happiness is never, ever, ever someone else's job to give that to you. You need to be the one that finds and creates that for yourself. Like, I would never expect an outside external person, thing, and ladies, I'm talking bags and shoes, all of that's great. But again, that's in the moment. That's not something that's going to give you that long-term gratification. And identifying that, like, what is that for you? Is it being the best mom you can be? Is it being the best wife or businesswoman that you can be? Like, only you know the answer to that. And for me, it was being all of those things, because I knew if I was a mom and I was wearing that hat and in that role, I wouldn't be fulfilled 100% if I also wasn't producing on the other side of having my own business and working and being fulfilled in that area. So yes. I think that, for any woman that's like, I'm having, issues or arguments or whatever in the relationship right now, it's never the other person's thing for you to figure out, right? Because imagine if that was put on us, like as individuals, to be that happiness for someone else. That is a lot of weight.
Talk about the energy sucker. The energy.
Yes, exactly. And whether, and honestly, whether it's a partnership, like a husband-wife relationship, or friends, like, you need to always figure out what it is that makes you happy and what you're fulfilled by. Because if you try and put that onto someone else, that's just way too much of a responsibility. And essentially, how are they ever supposed to know? Because that's always changing too. So finding your own thing, relying on yourself to find that happiness, and then, tapping into a community. Like, I have an amazing group of women that I surround myself with that are just amazing women. They're moms and wives and businesswomen. And that's part of, Project in Charge as well, where it's a community of women who are just like, I want more out of life, and I want other women who want this too. And, finding that support system. And again, it's not always like, we do have to figure that out for ourselves, but sometimes we do need the support and the guidance, right? And being able to figure that out and not be stuck in what the problem is, but looking for the solutions.
Yes, community is so huge, and just who you surround yourself with in your circle. Yeah. And keep that. You don't have to have 15 close friends. If you have just a few that are in your close circle that you can just talk to, lean into, have that sense of community and support, and then have a larger circle of more supportive women who are also craving more, and to have that inner happiness and fulfilling life. It's so, so important. I totally agree. So moving into, I guess, just closing up, you had so much value, gave so much value to the listeners already. And I just want to know, like, do you have one or two just like little productivity hacks that, if there's anyone listening and they're really struggling being productive right now, what can they do immediately, like in their schedule, to be productive in the next like 24 hours, let's say?
Yeah. No, I love this. So I love getting my clients fast wins, right? So like when I get on the call and we're doing a discovery call or it's a coaching call, like I want them to get immediate results. So one of the things that I would say is look at what the goal is. Like, first you got to know where you're going. Like I mentioned in the beginning, like you have to know, what do I want? Like, get really clear on what it is that you want, because if you don't know, like, we can't set the steps in place to make it happen. So the first part is just getting the clarity on, what do I want? What do I want out of myself professionally, personally? What do I want for my own well-being and self-care, right? So let's identify what that thing is first, and then to put the action plan in place. And what I like to focus on is, instead of to-do lists, because I know a lot of people are like planners and to-do lists, and all that is great, and I have my own system for it, but focus on what 3 things, no more, no less, so not 4 or 5 or 6 or 1 or 2, 3 things that you can do every single day that are going to intentionally move you forward towards that goal. So for me, and I'll tell you, I'll go to today's I have this, here we go. So for today, the 3 that I did a webinar this morning. I had an email blast that I repurposed my content from that webinar, and then it was a workout. So those 3 things are on my list of non-negotiables today. Yesterday, it was meeting with my PR team. It was prepping the webinar, and then it was also an intentional time family walk after dinner with my family. So it changes every day, and that's the thing. You know, I think a lot of the clients that I work with, they get so caught up in, well, if I make a list of the things I do from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I have to get to all of them. And I'm like, you're just setting yourself up for success, for failure.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you set yourself up for success is you say, okay, look, this is the game plan. Out of the game plan for the day, what are the 3 things that are my non-negotiables that I am going to stick to and accomplish? And if those get done, which they always should be, and if you're not, then you have to relook at the structure and what you're going after. But if that's the goal, those 3 things are the goal, then focus on those 3 things only for the day. And then once you complete those, then you can move on to whatever else you need to get done. But we want to set you up for success, not say, well, build a list of 20 things and try and get those done. Like, there's just no way. There's no way that's going to happen. You know, so just be intentional with your time. Another great tip for if there's any moms listening is like, know when you can get your most productive time in to work. So if you have childcare and you have help, that's amazing. I know with COVID right now, there's just a lot of moms that are teaching and working and
doing all the things.
Cooking all the things. So if that's the case, find the little pockets in your day, whether it's before the kids are up, nap time, after they go to bed, when you have that uninterrupted time to really move forward and do those money-making moves like I was talking about, and really just focus on what steps you're taking every single day to make progress. And don't beat yourself up over the things that you're not doing, because that's like the fastest way to failure. That's the fastest way to just get into that downward spiral. And we want to focus on all the positives, moving forward and getting that progress every day.
So helpful. So much value. Thank you so much, Sandi. If anybody wants to purchase one of your courses, be a part of your amazing community, how can they contact you?
Yeah, so sandraglandt.com /welcome is where they can check out any of the courses, the coaching, and I'm projected for the end of June, beginning of July, to have my very first book out, Slay Your Day. Yes, so it's Slay Your Day, and it's all about, it's what I teach in my courses and my coaching, you know, so it's going to be on productivity tips, time management, how to really get ahead. But, you know, first and foremost, I want to just like totally just smash the idea of like, you have to know all of that right now, because if you weren't brought up with it, with those tools and the systems, which again, I was not, you have to align yourself with someone who has kind of gone through the trial and error, figured it out, has the systems. And this book is a great introduction to setting that system and the blueprint in your own life.
I cannot wait till that book comes out. I will be purchasing that. I will pre-order it, whatever I got to do. But thank you so much, Sandi. It's been so much fun talking to you and seeing you today. So thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Also, please follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. Until next time, be unstoppable.